Good morning. This is Ian and Jeff at the Auto Hub Show. We just got back from SEMA and Used Car Week. We're going to start with an interview from Used Car Week. And for anyone who's interested in being interviewed on our new recorded show for the 2024 season, please reach out. We'll be doing recorded interviews as well as we roll into 2024. This is one from Used Car Week from a gentleman from Cam Clark Ford Lincoln, which has operations in Canada and the US. They're at about 19 stores. So here we go.
This is Ian.
And this is Jeff, and we're here at Used Car Week 2023 with our new best friend, Tony. I'm Red. Tony Red.
Can you share the screen?
With the Cam Clark Ford Group, based out of the U.S., but it's okay. We've forgiven you. Lots of people that we know, but we wanted to ambush him in an interview. Tony, thank you so much for taking the time. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing here.
Well, I'm with Cam Clark Auto Group out of Canada and USA. I handle the used car operations for the 20 stores, and we just kind of need more eyes on parts. We come down, get more ideas, and look into some AI stuff and some other solutions, and stay current, which is sometimes difficult when you're up in the Great White. So I'm originally from Seattle, been 45 years in the business, and I want to keep growing. That's what it's all about.
Very cool. And by the way, because we're new buds, like those of you guys in Canada, those stores, you want me to say good things, just Brett. You got to call me. You got to do me good things. And by the way, Brett's too bad with babies.
I was up there 2-3 weeks ago, and he was off to an appointment. Absolutely, yeah, exactly.
So
really going good.
Yeah, and the beauty is they got an appointment for the baby. This is the new work. Got an appointment to have the baby. So what are the big challenges you're finding across the group?
Well, it's always people. Any group, any dealership, it's always people first. So on always people. You can build processes around everything else, but people's, all have to be on the same wavelength. So we're working on common language throughout the group, throughout US, Canada. We're blessed to have some software that really speaks common language, US and Canada. So we're just getting that message across, and you can do that on a weekly basis, and then adding to it with events like this, and pretty soon keep getting better and better and adding so. And what's been your experience so far at Used Car Week?
What hit me over? What knocked me over? Really?
Well, the instant video calls before us, I've never been there all, but with that big call, okay. Really, I spent some time with Jared at Contact AI that was really effective. Craig Quisenberry with ACV is multifaceted, a lot of great ideas for us in regards to transportation, and actually appraisal processes have been on tops on our list, and there's some great stuff here, really innovative technology on appraisal process that you'd be lost about really as time goes forward here. So it's including EV and battery life and EV, and pricing EVs are going to be difficult to control, and we need to get our arms around it, and this is where you get the stuff to do.
So is it really true about the new swear word, the Ford world is EV?
Well, they went down. Everyone went down one path. I mean, I think that's a given. That we all know. So everybody knows that they went down this long path. Those that it's that already knew it from the beginning. 26. So yeah, we knew it from the beginning. But the kids had to see it firsthand. So now they have. So now these fits the right demographics for where it's at. It's going to be a 10% deal or a 20% deal, or if it's going to take 5 years or 10 years, whatever it's going to take. Let's wade in properly so we're not, head first with ego.
So the big question I have for you is, and you're in a very unique position. What's the difference in the used car business between the US and Canada? The one thing I noticed is the actual is the acquisition mode, because it's so much more opportunity in states for acquisition other than private. It's flat.
Yeah, no, I suppose it's acquisition is a good way. But I think that the difference between what really strikes me and what really hit home to me is the amount of data that's available for proper acquisition in the US versus the amount of data that's available in Canada. There's a real data issue there. You're somewhat in the blind, even if you want to deal with market supply and cost of market provision or profit time or whatever you want to deal with. If there's not enough data, you still are. There's a little bit more gut to it than there should be, especially when we're trying to work as a team, as one deal. So more data. If they shared more data between the two, if the companies weren't so split down the middle, US and Canada, they came together and shared more data. It would be beneficial to the Canadians for sure.
Thank you very much for taking the time. It's a pleasure. And enjoy the rest of this trip.
Meet you guys. Thank you. Which I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, good morning, and we're going into the trailer side. Here we go.
Ready, set, begin. Coming to you live, it's the Auto Hub Show with Ian and Jeff. Here we go.
So what would your dealership feel like if your entire sales staff was literally on fire, your sales and service staff? They were nonstop all over social media, completely dominating your marketplace. They could do it in 30 days or less and then continue their education to do it for an entire 6 months or a year. You literally would completely take over the entire marketplace and no one would be able to compete with you. And that's what we can do for you. So when you're walking around your community, whether you're at local restaurants or you're going to the gym, you don't want to be bothered? Fine, you won't be bothered. But a lot of people will walk up to you and say, oh my God, I love your social media. Your staff is amazing. We love what you're doing in the community. We want to come buy a car from you. We want to get an oil change at your dealership. Your community is absolutely going to love you. And it doesn't matter what platform you're on. You could be on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all social media platforms. You will literally be all over the place. I've traveled all over North America. I've trained Toyota. I've trained Nissan. I've been to driving sales. I've been to Women in Auto. I get hired as a speaker for conferences at universities all over the country. And I can help change the trajectory of your dealership right now. If you click on the link, you can sign up for our webinar. It's live with me, and you'll learn the 7 strategies that you need at your dealership in order to see that success.
Hi, everyone. This is Paul Brobson, the CEO over at Trusted Sale. And if you don't know Larry Feldman at Career Changers, boy, are you missing out. Now, what are you missing, you might ask? Well, for starters, you're missing the world's best trainer. But seriously, what makes Larry a great trainer is how engaged he keeps his audience. I was at a store recently while Larry was conducting training. And let me tell you, nobody wanted to leave that room. I mean, even when they needed a bio break, they wanted to stick around and hear what Larry had to say. The great late Jim Valvano, who said, to me, there are 3 things everyone should try to do every day. Number 1 is laugh. Number 2 is think. Spend some time in thought every day. And number 3, you should have your emotions move you to tears. If you laugh, think, and cry, that's a heck of a day. Well, I can tell you, Larry's going to make you laugh. He's going to make you think. And yeah, every once in a while, he's going to make you shed a tear or two. But one thing I can say, it's a heck of a day when Larry comes to visit. But wait, there's more. There is? Yeah. Not only is Larry a great trainer, but he's also one hell of a recruiter. So if you need people in your dealership, I mean anyone, you need technicians, salespeople, managers, BDC agents, whatever you need, Larry can get you staffed right with the right people and do it fast.
Ways to improve. Every month we want to improve better on what we did the month before, maybe the year before. It's about how fast we can get the cars done with quality work to get it to the front line, because that's where we make our money. And the bottom line is, the longer it takes, the more money you spend. We want to get it down as low as possible. Right now, like I said, we're in a great stage. We're at 4.5 days. In recon, we want to know how quickly we can get the cars out of the recon process and to their front line. The average days in recon, and then the time to line of the most important thing to be get. I'm Mike Burrell, I'm Service Director at JM Lexus.
Good morning and welcome. So I have a couple books. I thought the themes of both conferences that I was at anyway, which would be SEMA and Used Car Week, would be change. So there's a few books here. The Catalyst, how to change anyone's mind, communicating change, and leading transformation. Go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
There we go, the disclaimer. Hello, everybody. And of course, we have our famous disclaimer, and he isn't here. The reason for the disclaimer, Larry Feldman is joining us today because he's on a plane. But the views and opinions shared with us today are not necessarily that of Ian and Jeff or the Auto Hub show. And we disregard any knowledge of this. This message will self-destruct in 3 seconds.
Thanks. So we're talking about 2 shows today, and this is post-show.
So
if you haven't been to SEMA, it's the largest show in auto in North America outside of CES, I believe, which is technically an auto hub, an auto show. I'm assuming about 500,000 people at peak, 250,000 during the show for vendors and industry insiders. And then we just finished Used Car Week in Scottsdale, which has, I think, about 1,800 people attended this year, something like that. Anyway, Jeff, let's get into it.
Well, okay, so Used Car Week was very special, and it was quite epic. A lot of people, not a lot of vendors, but a lot of vendors. I mean, it's not like some of these shows where there's 800 vendors, but one vendor stood out, and who was the featured guest today. And you might have guessed it's called Truly. It's that because they were the kings of swag. Like, man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Swag, I got to tell you, anybody who goes to shows, especially if you're not a dealer, you walk over and you go, oh, that's really cool, but I don't want to take that because, that's not for me. And the last day they're just throwing it away. Well, these guys actually had, I'll take that off because it's too hot there. These guys actually had a little mini mall. Come on and get stuff. So our featured guest today is Jordan Newhouser, who from Truly Audio, who we could describe as this. Oosh, 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 oosh. I won't use the other term that I use, but Jordan, say hi, introduce yourself and your company, and thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. And by the way, for the record, everybody, I did get the wrong Zoom link, so.
Yes, well, thank you all for having me. My name is Jordan Newhouser. I'm the Chief Experience and Marketing Officer at Truly Audio. I'm looking forward to talking to everyone here today.
So maybe you could tell us a little bit about Truly. For us at the show, there was a Jeep with a demonstration, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about the history of the company and sort of what Truly is all about.
Yeah, I would love to. So I've been with the company a little over 6.5 years now. The company was founded around 7 years ago, and we've been working on reinventing the speaker. So we have a globally patented technology on how you reproduce sound. So we're able to do that in a thinner or shallower footprint with less power than anyone else in the world. And so when thinking about how to apply that to a product, we were thinking about how can you improve your car's audio without installation, knowing that we can incorporate electronics. There's a couple dozen engineers at Truly. We do all of our own engineer design. We do all of our assembly in-house and most of our manufacturing right in Mundelein, Illinois, which is just north of Chicago. And so we've been working on a lot of things, but really trying to bring value to people that spend a lot of time in their cars and listen to music, but at the same time bring value to automotive dealers at the same time. So that's why we were at Used Car Week this week, and so I hope that's a quick summary.
Yeah, so if you haven't lost all your hearing yet, it's a good way to lose what's left.
Well, I have to say what I found very interesting was probably about 15, 20 years ago, a big thing was upgrading your audio. At a dealership, you could, there was always a display for the audio racks, and there was amps and everything else, and names like Alpine and Blaupunkt, et cetera, were there. But of course, as they've morphed into these in-house creativities of screens and everything else, how could anybody play with that? I mean, we saw that and heard it, and my first exposure to it was, of course, at the very first podcast stage that we were on, which is 10 a.m. on day one. We're hearing this, pounding sound coming, and and we were literally 300-400 feet away from it, and we could still hear it. It was really impressive, really impressive. So why did you guys choose Used Car Week as a focus?
It's a great question. So I know we're talking about SEMA and Used Car Week here, and so I've been to SEMA many times. I came from that world of car audio. I used to compete in DB Drag and Mecca and competed globally, went to World Finals many times. So I was familiar with that world, and I loved that world. But for us, being a new company, trying to debut our product for the first time, I couldn't be at both shows back to back. It just was not realistic. I'm sure that next year will be a different story. But this year it was, I had to make a choice, one or the other. And so SEMA being a beast, amazing show, there's a huge car audio section. It could have been awesome. But for us, we're really trying to hit that point of sale when someone buys a vehicle. And we know that, as y'all know better than I do, as soon as someone buys even a new car, as soon as they roll off the lot, now it's a used car. And so the used car market and being able to personalize that sale experience while driving profits to the dealer, we thought that could be a better path to get at the market. And so that's where we made the decision, Used Car Week. And frankly, when talking to Dana and the entire team at Used Car Week, from the initial filling out the contact form and getting an immediate response, they have been incredible to work with, really family-esque. And it just made us feel comfortable walking into our first trade show as Truly Audio, that this is going to be successful. And we didn't know to what degree, but we just knew that it was going to be a good time, and it far exceeded our expectations.
Fantastic.
Well, I have to say too that the car business is gradually morphing into a lot of a different generation of people, but there's still a ton of us old guys here, and we do remember the times when we would, the added dealer profit was adding things on. And my number one comment was made with this is this could be an F&I item, as well as just a salesman on the floor. But we always found, everybody knows salespeople aren't the greatest for selling accessories. And but of course, my joke was, the beauty of this thing is they build it into the financing, and then 2 years down the road when the car gets repoed, it's magically not there because it's not a permanent part of the car. Just kidding. Ian.
Yeah, so I mean, there's obviously a lot of different vendors at the show, both at SEMA, obviously, as you know, and also at Used Car Week. My takeaway from Used Car Week this time was you had a lot of technology companies, but also a lot of companies that were really about other things for the dealer. So we had one, Black Widow, that we have an interview that'll drop soon. We had a Chinese company called, I'm sure Jeff can explain it better than me, but it's Tao Che Che, I think. So they're the Carvana of China, backed by JB, which is a competitor to Alibaba. And then there was a bunch of other companies, a lot in the AI space, but a lot around data. There was actually a company that we interviewed as well that's in a lot of different spaces, but is really trying to be targeted on the marketing front. What were you hearing from dealers about the show? But more importantly, what were you hearing from just attendees about, their ability to sell different solutions like yours? Like, what were you hearing from them? Like, what kind of feedback did you get?
For sure, another great question, and it was awesome being able to engage with everyone from car dealer owners who may only own one dealership to individuals that might have had 20 rooftops. To then, we even had the opportunity to speak to some of the biggest players in the market, right? Which was amazing. I didn't think we were going to get that opportunity being so new, and we got a lot of time with them. So that was awesome. And so I think the overall common denominator was not everyone will buy this, but we have a strong feeling that a good portion of our buyers would love this. And what was interesting to hear was it wasn't just oh, the audiophiles are going to buy it, or just people that love music are going to buy it. You know, that's who we initially think are going to buy it, right? We're in the vacuum. But when hearing from the dealers and the finance managers and even just people in the industry and some of the vendors who are so friendly that we're like, hang on, let us help make some introductions. Let's try to work on a partnership. We were just hearing that there are strong use cases for this, whether you just love new tech, you just love audio in cars, you want to be able to personalize that purchase, and you really can't because it's a used car. You can't order it like a new car. And so we have a lot of good feedback. And to your point, Jeff, the finance managers got excited because being able to roll that in and make additional profits there would be really beneficial to the dealership. And so the feeling, the overall was positive. I think we had a couple of people just challenge us saying, why aren't you at SEMA? And we were like, yeah, no, look, it's a good gut reaction. I think it makes total sense that we will be there one day. But I think that was the only negative comments we were getting was, why were you not there? Which is all good.
It's a lot of show back to back. I'll tell you that. I don't think I'd do that again back to back. It's a lot of show. Obviously we have other people on the call. Jeff, I mean, I know you're in the AI space, and Peter, I know you have some thoughts on dealers, and Fred obviously was at Used Car Week. What are you hearing out there in the marketplace in reference to other things going on? AI is obviously the hot thing from Used Car Week as well. I mean, we had a lot of women in auto and other things going on, but what are you hearing out there from dealers on sort of what they're interested in right now?
So if I can just jump in the last, I would say 96 hours, I've had extreme high-level conversations with Jeff on the panel here, and the innovations that we're seeing in the marketplace that are coming out on almost what it seems like a daily basis is phenomenal, and how we are now in a positioning that we're looking to fundamentally change our relationships with our consumers by using technology in our processes, so our people can actually get better in the relationship model. I'd love to allow Jeff to give a 5-minute spiel on how his product is revolutionary to how we're going to interact. And with that, I'll yield the floor to Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff, maybe you can give us some
Thanks,
thoughts.
Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ian, it was great to meet you in person at SEMA. And this is the best swag I got, Jeff. And Jordan, I wish I would have known your booth. I didn't make it, but my son is a Toyota technician, and we spent an hour and a half in the BG booth talking to the rep there and just had a jolly old time. It was really interesting. So my background is really what I see in communications. And, nothing happens without communication. And, it's our words that make sales, break sales, identify issues, identify areas for growth. So I have a very robust platform that listens to phone calls and assesses them and evaluates them without actually listening to phone calls. So you don't have to listen to the recording to know what happened on that 10-minute service call that just happened in your dealership. We can identify issues, and there's not enough attaboys, in the I call tracking space. I don't even like using that term because it's so much more, but it's been used as a weapon for a long time for people in businesses and dealerships to say, how poor they are and how bad they are. So it's gotten a bad rep, but we want to use it now. And Peter's really helping me with thoughts and guide this and position it where, the dealer principals and the leaders in the dealership again, can see what's going on in a consumable manner and a quick manner. So we're not looking at today's calls tomorrow, when it's too late to fix a lot of stuff. And it applies really across the board, certainly outside of auto. But that's the short and skinny, and Peter's more eloquent at describing it than I am, because I always say I'm a tech guy that wears a sales hat. So that's sort of how I describe myself. And Ian, you know that too, because I swelled up Ian's one ear because he was sitting next to me at dinner with Larry. But anyway.
Well, it was interesting that you bring that up, because one of the many interviews we did with some dealers at Used Car Week was with Cam Clark, and they're a Canadian dealer group that has a lot of U.S. locations now. I think he said 20. And his biggest thing in our interview with them was people. 100%. He says process is important and technology is important. He was there looking at all that stuff, and I actually had a chance to talk to him, I think, on Friday. But he said, all that's great, but if I can't find the warm bodies to do the work, it just doesn't help me. So it was kind of interesting, just from a point of view of specifically AI, because he said one of the first people to follow up with him after the show has an AI company. And he said the reason he followed up is he wanted to be sure that he was the first person to talk to him, which I thought was kind of funny. But, that was kind of his thought process, which was kind of interesting. But go ahead, Peter.
So basically, on that whole statement there, we are and we will always remain a people business, and these shows that we're going to are bringing tangibles to our marketplace that improve that human connection that we're having, and that's the in my humble opinion, is the failure of our business. In the last 20 years, we've transitioned from that relationship sale to a transactional sale because of the instant gratification that is wanted by consumers. Now, we understand we want it now, and that's based because we have this great thing called text, where we have that instantaneous response that we can get to. We have the internet, we have all these tools that are being brought to us, and we as my wife says to me quite often, is the pendulum has swung so far that the as Einstein states, each action has an equal and greater reaction. So now it's falling back to the relationship model, because every complaint is, well, we're not being heard. We're not getting what we want. We're not this, we're not that. And that's because we've pushed it to technology. And now we're moving back towards the relationship model. And now we have that opportunity with our tech that we've developed, that we can actually really maximize that loyalty and that investment in our businesses to bring it back to the customer. And that's where we're going to see programs like, and it's very simple. We have the tech, like Jeff. We have the processes like Wendy and Fred's company that is taking that tech and using the process, and then they're bringing it back to companies like myself, where we're going to envelop and actually educate the consumer and bring them to a form of long-term customer relationship. So it's for me, I look at it and I say, this is the best time ever in the car business. And it's just bringing that knowledge that there, and Wendy and I had the conversation last night, the OGs into the room, and bringing them their experience to teach these people how to maximize their efforts.
Great stuff. So
I wanted to just say real quick, excuse me for interrupting, just for Jordan's benefit. When I first got out of college, I managed a hi-fi store, stereo store for 5 years. And then I managed a car stereo store for 10 years. So I know Amp of America. This was in Florida when I lived there. And JL Audio. I saw all those guys blow up.
There was a few stereo systems in cars at SEMA. A few.
Oh, insane.
To the point where I'm sitting there going, I don't think I want to be sitting in that car. But yeah, I mean, I guess my question there was, you had the choice between SEMA and Used Car Week, and obviously next year you might make a different choice. What did you gain from the sessions? Did you have a chance to attend any of the breakout sessions? For Truly, and obviously knowing the audio, I mean, what did you gain from that? I'm just curious.
No, we're very new to this industry, everyone at Truly. And so we all took turns sitting in sessions so that we could learn more about the industry, just be able to meet people. I really enjoyed the Navicon.
Yeah.
So I sat in through that entire, both heats. I thought it was really interesting. Getting to speak with some of those teams afterwards, just to learn a little bit more about their offering. But I think for me, the biggest learning was I didn't know how the market connected. So you got repossession, you got finance, there's all these various elements of the show, and just hearing how they're intertwined and how they push and pull on each other. It really brought a lot of attention to us as a team, to just how supportive the industry is of one another, and how it's not just sales, it's not just finance. There is a lot more to the used car market than most, I believe, understand. So that was really cool to learn about. I think it also helped us better understand how dealerships make money and also have challenges managing those relationships, right? Which I know, Peter, you're talking about as it's moving into once again. And so for us, we look at that as an opportunity, knowing that music is like sports and food. It's a way to connect with your audience, even when you don't really have a connection. And so we found that was big for us at this show. And so really, once again, thinking about a tool that we can use in a dealership to be able to kind of break the ice or connect with our buyer in a way that we may not have been able to before, and what you can learn about a user when they start to share their interest of music. It really opens them up and really peels those layers to where you've really hit an emotional spot. And so we found that a lot of individuals that we were talking to saw this as a double-sided opportunity, knowing that that relationship side of the business is becoming more and more required than ever today. And so we want to help with that, in addition to, of course, driving the bottom line. And so that was just something that we noticed when Andy, our audio engineer, was giving demonstrations, and it went from someone saying, well, maybe I'll get a demonstration, to suddenly they said, I was not supposed to be here for an hour. But they keep wanting to hear more, and they don't realize what they're missing. And suddenly it went from, I may not want to have a demo, to now I'm not leaving you. And I'm now sharing more than I ever thought I would share. And that's what we started to get, even from the dealers and the finance managers, and even some of our vendors that were next door to us or around the corner when they came into our booth. And I think that really tells a lot to what you can expect when putting something like this in your dealership and having demonstratable units to take out with the car. It really does change the dialogue and relationship, we think, and we witnessed at the show.
Yeah, and the flexibility of the unit, being able to use it for a tailgate or take it physically out of the car, or use it on a battery or plug it in, or app-based. I mean, there's a lot of flexibility in this that really I've never seen in a solution for audio. I mean, granted, I'm dating myself a little bit, but I mean, I saw some pretty crazy audio at SEMA that, arguably took up half the car. But,
Sure.
Is that a solution for everyone? I don't know. But what I liked about the Truly solution was the fact that it was a solution that could be for a range of different usages versus just in your car.
And on top of that, you don't have to be You know, it's a little intimidating when you look at these sound systems and you kind of say, man, that's for crazy people or whatever. But the beauty of the fact that it's something simple and it's right there. And by the way, I did hear that you're trying to get the endorsement of the American Chiropractic Association for back massages.
So we had, you're hilarious. I love it. So we had a couple people, they were like, you know, massage chairs cost like $10,000 as an upgrade in a car today. And this really kind of gives me both. And I love it. And so it was, I love the picture. So yes, there is an extreme world of competitive car audio, just like there's an extreme world of competitive car racing, right? They are all accepted. They're all good. It's a hobby, right? Most of those individuals still have a daily driver, that vehicle they use to get from A to B. But the reality is there's premium car audio systems offered in almost every car that you can buy. Y'all know better than me. And so regardless of how premium that system is, you're still missing a lot from that sound system due to the restraints of a vehicle, right? Whether, you know, putting that window down and now you can only have a driver that's so thick and those front panels, the power with the battery and just that the wire gauges and all the things that come with upgrading a car's audio, even OEM. And so we really wanted to take on that challenge of leveraging our speaker technology and giving users the ability to just enjoy music and hear it a little bit differently than they've heard in the past, similar to being at a show and having that front row experience. And so we're incredibly excited about it. And Ian, to your point, there was a live DJ that was throughout the show at UCW, and that DJ was performing on the exact same speaker system that we were dropping in the car because it's battery powered, wireless. There's many applications, and so we were using the same speakers. It was really fun we pushed it further than we ever have at UCW, and so it was awesome.
Yeah, we have
Looks like Wendy has something to say here, so I'm excited to hear. Yes.
Go ahead, Wendy.
Sorry,
guys. Oh, no. I just wanted to cap off what everyone else was saying. First of all, I have to be honest, Jordan, and I honestly did not know that you were a new product launch. I thought you were like a swag host, honestly, because someone was like, Shelly Polo was like, oh my God, you gotta see this table where they have all this swag and blah, blah, blah. And Shelly's always my shopping pal. And like in San Diego, you know, Fred was driving out of town saying, thanks a lot, Shelly. Because I found Kurt Geiger and I found Kendra Smith and I found, you know, this and that and the other. And we all went with Johanna Nethercott for a little bracelet. And I ended up walking out with bags that were breaking both arms. So it was hilarious. But anyway, she's like, look at this. There's somewhere to go shopping. Look at this Truly booth. And so I didn't know. But that said, and now listening to the engineering behind the product and your decision to go to Used Car Week instead of SEMA, which I think was brilliant, first of all. And it had to be really, really hard because I'm a car brat and my dad was a race car driver before he got busted up and got into automotive in 1964. So I know about loud music and loud cars and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it fuels my every breath I take. And it had to be difficult to stay away from those cars and those cool audio systems and blah, blah, blah. So I think it's going to be wonderful what you do next time. I want to say that I think you have arrived. I think whatever you did at Used Car Week, your presence and the aura about your team and the patio ambiance and just the whole thing, I have to tell you, because I'm like going on 25. So I get really excited by stuff like that and progressive things and all that. Famous production, presentation, presence, well done. Kudos. Can't wait to see you blow up. Now, let the rest of us help get you out into our networks, because you said not many of you have a long history in automotive. It's all about the people, my friend. It's all about the relationships you make over the years. So dig in with those that you feel are authentic and true. And we grow, my favorite hashtags are hashtag stronger together and hashtag people helping people. And just enjoy the journey. And that's all I got to say, Jordan. Welcome and well done.
Oh, Wendy, thank you so much. It really warms my heart to just hear your compliments about the team and the people. And it was really hard. It was a lot of work for all of us, and so that feedback means everything. And I am happy that you loved the swag and it brought attention to Truly. And we're looking forward to walking through that door and building those relationships and already just being on this call with y'all and the many conversations. I know Jeff, we kept running into each other at the show and it's just awesome. And so thank you, Wendy, and thank you all. Like I can't thank you all enough for the warm welcome into this world.
Thank you.
Well, I do have to say something too, though, that what you guys did was you actually conducted a master class on to be a vendor at a show. And a lot of vendors were sitting in the vendor hall. And Ian and I commented on this over and over and over again. And they're doing one of these, where have all the people gone? They're not here now. And at other shows, you get the breaks, especially Used Car Week, because the Cherokee media team do a hell of a job. They set it up. They have coffee breaks with food. Food always brings people everywhere. But they weren't hanging around the vendors. You guys came in and took over the show as nobody even knew who you were. And you did it. It's not just the swag. It was the people. Holy cow, you had your people going around. You had 3 or 4 photographers and videographers and your DJ and you were bad. And frankly, and I've commented to you over and over again, even Len was a dream and he was everywhere. So you guys really conducted a master class.
Yeah.
Did you plan it this way or what?
Well, I appreciate all of those call outs. So my previous company was an event company, and I had sold that. I started that company right before I was 14. Started as a DJ company. I recognized there was a problem with high school events, specifically extracurricular, that they were only for like the popular kids, and I thought that was wrong. Because it's not that other people didn't want to get involved. I think they're just nervous, and I think that barrier to entry is really scary in high school. And so we ended up getting nationally recognized and driving, we worked with millions of high school students. And so being able to think about how to integrate yourself into a place that might be foreign has been something that I've been fortunate enough to be able to do my entire life. And so doing it here with everyone, it means a lot because we really do put our heart and soul into everything we do, and so this was new and this was different, and but fundamentally we believe that events with music are a little bit better and a little happier, and so we're excited to be part of that, and so we're excited to be part of UCW again next year. We're not going anywhere.
And part of it
too about
part of the
we talked a little bit about NADA. Sorry, and what you guys are kind of up in the air about that right now.
I would love to be at NADA. I applied, but by the time we had confidence in our product, they were already sold out. And so we had talked to a few other exhibitors that were at UCW that will be at NADA, and we were talking about some potential partnerships of maybe collaborating at NADA, even though we can't get on the showroom floor. And so we hope for 2025 we'll have a presence on the floor, but we'll for sure be there next, in February. But to what degree, we're still figuring that out.
And the key takeaway from NADA, and we've been at a number of booths, sponsor booths, and other booths over the years. But I have to say Rapid Recon from this year's show really had a really tight booth and resulted in some great ROI for them because they took the 6 to 8 months to prepare. But also because they had the team there on the ground to really deal with customers. The other one that I'd really recommend studying a little bit is Techion. When they launched a couple of years ago now, they went big, but more importantly, they really planned it out. And I think that's the secret to success at these bigger shows, whether it be NIADA, Used Car Week, SEMA, or of course Used Car Week. But NADA is the largest dealer show, so you have to be cognizant of the scale of the show, but also the fact that really having a booth alone isn't enough. You really need to plan that out over time. And we've been at a number of our sponsor booths doing live podcasts over the years. I guess the takeaway from this year is have better internet. But other than that, the internet in Houston was in Dallas was some of the worst I've ever seen at a trade show. But at the end of the day, the key thing to these larger shows is really to plan and execute, which you already got done with Used Car Week. But I think with SEMA and also with NADA, you really need to plan those farther out because you have to have the booth, you have to have everything going. Go ahead.
I'm curious, Jordan. Sorry, I was just curious, and I didn't mean to interrupt anyone, but Jordan, your target audience mostly B2B and distributors and such, or what's your balance? Are you going B2C?
Good question. So we want to build our dealer network first and foremost and give priority to our dealer network. And then over time introduce to consumer, but as a new brand, going direct to consumer is challenging, but we're not going to ignore it. And so right now our emphasis is B2B.
And what's the projected launch for the product?
2024. Right now we're reining in all the manufacturing and supply so that we have enough when launching.
And if you are looking for a partner for NADA, let us know. I mean, we have had sponsors have booths over the years. There may be someone interested.
Yeah.
I also have a suggestion too that I don't know if you approached them on it, and you may have, but what you did at Used Car Week, they always have spaces. There's spaces outside. There's spaces in places. And it may not be a bad idea to pitch that, what you just did there, only because a booth is great. But, like SEMA, okay, I didn't go to SEMA, and there was a reason I didn't go to SEMA. It was just a lot. And when you go to something where there's so much, and at NADA, there is so much to cover in such little time that, it can be overwhelming for attendees. However, my opinion only is what you did there had such an impact that it had nothing to do with the booth.
Yeah, I'm trying to think at NADA, was there any audio people that I can think of?
Nobody can remember. Nobody can remember because if there were, they had a booth.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing anybody, to be honest.
Just quickly, gentlemen. One of the things that I can jump in and this brain or question storm this very quickly. You want to get the word out. You want to be heard. Truly wants to be heard. And end of story. You want to be heard. So one of the things that I would look at is I would potentially go after a number of the people from NADA Dallas that had hospitality nights after the show. There was 3 dozen companies that had hospitality.
Yeah.
And what I would do is I would go and I would approach them with a partnership saying, listen, we're going to amplify your exposure with our speakers, and we're going to get this out so that you're heard at NADA 2024, and we'll partner up with you.
I think Matador tried something like that, I think.
Yeah,
I'm not
well,
sure.
Matador did it with the bus cast, and they drove people around to all these events with their bus. But if you can, like, I remember one of the vendors there actually had Shaquille O'Neal come in and DJ a booth for an event. And well, what better partnership could you have is if you have something like that, and then you use your speaker system for that event and get that noise and break through the noise. And you can play on any of the number of the avenues of audio, whatever, and break through the noise, get the word out, get this out, and you're using your speaker system to do it. And you want to attract, you're trying to attract attention. And when you look at shows like an ADA and everything else, where you have a Escalade that's 40 feet up in the air spinning around on a top, and you're going, when's that thing gonna fall off? It's that visualization, the whole sensory perception that you're going to get, and how do you get it out there? And I think you have an opportunity, even though that you're not in the show, you can get in the show. All you have to do is find that one person that wants to get you on it.
No,
I'm giving you coining a marketing phrase for you, Jordan. Green noise.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of booths, including some new sponsors we have for next year. CDK Global is one of them. If you are interested in that kind of relationship, just let us know. Happy to make the connections.
No, I love the recommendations.
Hey, I got CDK Global gave me my iPhone or my iWatch last year just by watching a demo.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh man, Jordan. Okay, you guys got the second bet. No, just kidding.
Next level right there.
Yeah, I watched the demo of I guess it was their new platform that they were launching at NADA, and there you go. There's your new watch. And I went, oh, okay, thanks.
Awesome.
Didn't even know it.
I won three iPods at NADA one year. 3 in the same year.
Well, here's the funny
But that's
thing
better, Peter.
that what us as individuals don't catch up on. So the first thing we all thought is, so they gave Peter an iWatch. Okay, you buy them at scale, one generation old, they're $250 a copy. They gave away 500 or 1,000 of those minimum. Okay, so if we look at this as the timeshare guy, so you go to places, you fly into Mexico, and a guy outside the airport, hey, senor, you would like to go a place to your home, and tell you what, then we can give you a cab ride for free. All you got to do is sit on the presentation, and then they give you. I mean, we had a day cruise for 4 of us. We got a Fiesta, which was phenomenal, all from the same visit, and we're going, wow, that's throwing money away. Well, if you figure, if CDK gets 3 extra sign-ons, they've already paid for those Apple Watches. And Truly will pay for everything with only 100 dealers, because they went big.
So Jeff, we got 5 minutes left. So final thoughts.
Final thoughts, Jeff. Jordan, thank you for joining us. Jeff, thanks for coming on. First time. We'd love to reach out with you and have you as something a little more featured sometime. And I have to say, Used Car Week was really something. Last year in San Diego, it was great. My only negative comment on Used Car Week was they put the podcast booth way in the back corner and nobody knew it existed. And whereas last year was right outside the registration booth. But it was really something. There was a lot of stuff there, but I did get feedback from vendors. There was a lot of business, just it didn't look like it.
Well, also as a new vendor, you are limited with where you can get space. So that was my one takeaway the first time I was at NADA as a new vendor was you're more limited. So you want to, even if you have a little less presence the first year, you want to look at that as a learning. The other thing that I would recommend for new vendors or vendors who have the ability to be flexible in where they are, if it's in 2 halls, have a smaller presence in 2 halls versus a bigger presence in 1, because some dealers don't go to both halls. So it's not about square footage alone, even though that might be true for a company like Techion. It's about what are you doing and how are you doing it.
Well, yeah, and in Vegas at NADA, it's don't know what halls they're going to be in, but 2 years ago they were literally 3/4 of a mile apart, and people spent a lot of time walking over. I know I did. I probably put 25,000 steps a day, of which 20,000 of them were traveling between the 2 halls. So there's a great opportunity there. But just my final take, Used Car Week was really something, and it's nice to have something dedicated to used cars. And great to meet you, Jordan, and all the other people, and to spend people there. I'll leave it to you to Ian to close the show. Oh my God, we may be on time.
Exactly. It was a great week. A little bit too much for show to show to show. Look forward to a bunch of great content I'm going to be dropping over time. As stated earlier, we are going to be doing recorded shows as well as we roll into 2024. We're building a list now, so that'll be more of a one-on-one interview. If you are interested in Car Dealership Guy and how he's made it really big on global, I do have an interview that we'll be sharing. It's virtual in terms of he was on Zoom, but it's interesting if you're curious about that. And have yourself a great week. Thanks for tuning in and adding all the great content.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
Yep.
Oh la la. What?
Thanks for joining us. It was a great show, and follow us anywhere you would like on your favorite podcast, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and of course on our YouTube, or subscribe to our own channel.